Welcome to Industry of Impact. Are you asking the right questions? Am I getting technical knowledge and expertise?
I am with AMI.
Am I getting the right solution for my company?
I am with AMI.
Am I getting a trusted partner?
I am with AMI.
So, who are you with?
I am with AMI.
I am with AMI.
I am with AMI.
Are you? Go to automatedmarketing.com.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome to Industry of Impact. This is a LinkedIn Live series and podcast that is meant to shine a light on people who are making a positive impact on people, on companies, and on communities. And, you know, from industrial to tech, food and beverage to consumer goods, there are people in all industries that are doing good work, that are helping others, and we are here to talk to them. That's what we're all about, and we love it. Our hope is that you will connect with our guests directly on LinkedIn, and that you'll walk away with inspiration, ideas, actionable steps to enhance your business and your life. So my name is Mark Berger. I am the VP of Marketing for AMI. I am joined by my co-host today, Bill Allen. He is our VP of Sales and Service. And our guest, now I'm going to refer to my notes because I think I wrote something kind of cool. I'm very excited about our guest. He is the CEO of Beast Node, or The Beast Node. He is a maverick marketer, a legendary live streamer. He is an entertainment producer. He is a bridge builder to elite relationships. How about that for Travis Lachner, or as the screen says, T-Lock?
Yes. Thank you, fellas. Thank you guys so much. I'm glad to be here this morning. Honored to be here. And hello, LinkedIn.
Awesome. We are very grateful you're here. Now, I feel a little under the gun here. I got to be honest. We are new to the streaming game. Okay. So Industry of Impact is fairly new. And we're new to doing it. And here, like I mentioned, we have like live stream legend here with us. So you're going to have to let us know how we did, how we're doing, make sure, you know, we're on point.
Well, good news is most people are new to streaming, especially on LinkedIn, because it hasn't been around that long.
Yeah.
So we're just now reaching the point. I think it's kind of becoming a quality threshold. For a long while, like it existed like streaming, but it was this very, very like pixelated, low quality, high headache. And we're just now entering this sweet spot, as you guys are probably discovering, where you can jump in, get your account set up, synced, and start streaming literally in like a few clicks. And it's like a whole new world. So you're not alone in that discovery. I'm not also that far ahead of y'all in this adventure. I kind of got pushed in the pool during the pandemic of podcasting, streaming, and really that just sort of nudged me forward into this moment. And it's just been learning and sharing kind of little lessons I've learned along the way. And a lot of it is really becoming like finding your lane. So everybody's able to do it, streaming, podcasting. You just got to jump in, find what works for you.
Yeah, I actually have a question about that. But before I get there, I do want to point out that I did quite a bit of digging and listening on what you've done in the past. And I love what you do on your podcasts and streams. You have a great question that you lead with. And if you want to answer that question, great, but I'm gonna twist it. The question you asked is, what are you grateful for today? And I just love it. I am a firm believer in adjusting the attitude, and one way of doing that is focusing on what you're grateful for. So I'll ask you that, but I'll also say, like, what is your good news today? What are you feeling hyped about that's going on in your business and your life today?
Oh, amazing. Well, they kind of go hand in hand, the gratitude and the greatness. In my world, I've just been overwhelmingly grateful for the opportunities that are available in digital and social realm. I am a very introverted being. I can like turn it on when I need to and go schmoozing or whatever, but my core like comfortable safe zone is like somewhere where I can kind of zero in on that creative genius, but without all of the fancy lights and like an event production is a whole nother ball game versus a digital production. So for me, it's been discovery of those skills and then being able to shape all of these things that I've learned over the years, music production, audio engineering, all this stuff that seemed like random categories is finally coming to convergence in the same lane. And that is what I'm getting extremely excited about, extremely grateful for, is it's finally feels like everything's clicking and the lane is there. And now all I got to do is just turn it up. So that's been a huge portion of my perspective and gratitude lately is recognizing all those years, all those hours that you spend investing in those skills or those other lanes. It used to feel like it was like wasted when you had to switch and go to a different category. Now it's like all coming back together and you're like, yes, this was where I was supposed to be all along. So comes with a lot of gratitude and hopefully even more greatness here in the next year.
So that brings me to an interesting thing, because for those of you who maybe know Travis or follow him, you're going to know this. Others won't. Travis used to play hockey at Colorado State University, and I'm curious how you go from, hip checks to helping people. How do you go? How do you go from what is the other line that I wrote down? I love. I remembered that one. There was another one that's funny. Oh, how do you go from crashing the boards to creative marketing?
Oh, amazing. I think a lot of it is, now that I'm getting older here, a lot of it is recognizing that time or distance from something really gives you a different perspective. So in the moment when you're in like hockey mode from when I was a little kid all the way up to college hockey, it's just this very kind of ego-driven, competitive like drive inside of you. But now that I've gotten distance, what I've really recognized as the most valuable piece is the character and habit development. What it really instills in you is thinking about the long game, those little decisions that make you a couple seconds faster, a couple seconds quicker. It feels like nothing in the moment when you're training and week after week and you're going through that. But in business and marketing and all of this context, it's the exact same equation. So I feel like I was given kind of a nice like template to start with of recognizing that those small decisions made each day are for that long game impact. That one time when overtime is arriving and like you just need one more stride to get past somebody. All of those decisions you were making for the prior years lead up to that one moment to just get one extra step. And that's like the competitive nature I see in business and content creation is it's this consistency game, and you just have to have the habits and systems for success in the long run.
Awesome. So I want to actually ask Bill this because, first of all, Bill's a Marine. Today's Marine's birthday. Happy birthday, Marines. Right? Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
And tomorrow's Veterans Day. Thank you, Bill. But Bill, I wouldn't mind you talking a little bit about that, because you and I have talked about what the military and you serving has given to you in business. It's kind of ties into what Travis is talking about.
Yeah, it's a weird dynamic, right? But basically, I think as any member of a military unit, you always start to get to a point where excellence is habitry, where you just basically expect that you're going to have to overperform pretty much all the time. And then if you can carry that over, that habitry of, I'm up at 3:30 in the morning and I'm in the gym, right? And everybody thinks I'm insane, but I got that installed by the Marine Corps, and it's never coming out, right? It was just put in there like a module, and it just happens. I don't struggle to do it. It's just an absolute habit. So I think if you can translate that over into your business life, I always get an amazing feeling when I'm up working really, really hard before everyone else. I get this calmness comes over me at about 1:00 in the afternoon, when I've accomplished more already than probably 90% of the working public. And that's just from getting up. Sometimes I'll be up at 3:00 in the morning. Instead of going to the gym, I'll just get to work. And then I'm like, wow, I got a lot done. That feels so good, right? So if you want to get that little extra step that you're talking about, it's really about just learning to be, I think, to be juiced up by what you get done, right? So it's kind of like going to the gym when you work out and then you get home and you're like, man, everything feels tight and I'm pumped, right? That feeling keeps you going back. So it's the same in business success. Is you need to work really hard until you have a success and then feed off that success to take the next shot, right? If that makes sense.
Love it.
Oh yeah, I'm with it on that one. All of that resonates. It's one of those things you don't see it until it finally comes to use, and you're like, oh, now it makes sense.
Right.
So yeah, that advantage is amazing to hear.
Yeah, I have a story about it. It's an interesting story. I had a friend who ran a business in Virginia. And this was when I was out on the road every week. I typically would fly out on Monday, fly back on Friday, unless something called me to go to a different state while I was out. But I have a friend who ran a small business in Virginia, and he gave me a key to the facility, and he said, just come in on a red eye, let's come in on a red eye every other month. And I put him on a long-term contract to do that. So I would come in, literally get into the building at like 4:30 in the morning, and I'd get everything up and running, all the PMs done, everything finished. So that when the first crew came in, person arrived, typically first person's arriving at like 6:30, 6:45 in the morning, everything's done in peak shape, ready to run. And I just basically take the key, put it back under the mat, and fly out. Right. And he absolutely loved me because no one else was going to do that for him. Right. There probably were people out there who would. It's just most people wouldn't, if that makes sense. Yeah.
All right. I'm very curious. I think I saw you react. Did you hear the music during the pre-live?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I thought I thought it was on my end. I thought I was going through all of my tabs looking for I thought I had my SoundCloud open or something on there.
So looking to shut it down.
I literally just panicked, going through all the tabs.
For those who don't know, that music is, I don't know what you did exactly with it. Yours, original, produced. I'm not sure what it is. But I found it on your SoundCloud, and I threw it into the pre-live stream. But that was the reaction I was hoping for. That I saw your face go, "What in the world?"
It was mission accomplished in more than one way. I had the panic of literally, because it happens all the time when you're in 22 tab mode, and some audio starts playing or some music. I went through everyone. I was like, all right, I think this is from here. So well played on multiple accounts.
That leads me into my next question, because for me as a marketer, I want to be different, right? I want.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
There's a Buc-ee's plug. Want to give him a Buc-ee's squad. I love Buc-ee's.
Yeah, not a sponsor yet. But I of course I want to find an edge. I want to be different. I want to stand out. I want to be known. So even though we're new to this whole thing, with each guest, I don't want to just talk about the same stuff, even though a lot of people may not even know you or know your story that may listen to this. As someone who's hosting you, I want you to have an experience that's just different than you've had. And that was my biggest way of going, ooh, that's different. I bet no one's done that for Travis, right? And so that's why I got such a kick out of it.
It's perfect. I think these little details, when I was just mentioning that creative competitiveness, these little details are exactly what I'm talking about, because I see it in all other forms, especially now. Podcasts are starting to get so saturated in business world. Everybody's got one. So yeah, one of the things to really stand out is how can you creatively impress the guest throughout the entire production. So that's just a great example of even during it.
Yeah.
So the other pieces to mention, which is a huge piece of our business model, is every other touch point that happens prior to the show, during, before, while we're in the green room,
Yeah.
after, when we're done recording, and the follow-up. All of that process, that funnel, is a business development gold mine. So if you're thinking of every touch point, from the reminder email to the follow-up to the prep to the surprise of feeling special or whatever, of like, that's what creates an unforgettable experience.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people are missing
Yeah.
in this equation. The content is great. That's amazing. Like, that's obviously got its own lane of value.
Right.
But what I've really discovered when you mentioned the elite relationship building, avenues like this are going to be a way better, like when we sync up again, Mark, our conversations are going to be 100 times better than if your first DM was like, hey, I would love to talk to you about how AMI can help your marketing efforts and whatever. And I'm just like,
our audience
it's just
is
like,
really like your,
Yeah.
it just makes me cringe just watching like people try to do this outbound struggle, and I just watch them. I've been there. Like, when I started on LinkedIn, I did the same thing. Ooh, automated messaging threads to go say whatever.
Yeah,
but
hey, Travis,
this is so much better.
Yeah.
It's so difficult for people to understand. It's really about relationships at the end of the day. That's really all it is. And if you care enough once you meet somebody to want to create sort of an elegant experience for them, and you're really just concerned with getting their message out, I think it's genuine, right? I mean, at the end of the day, I meet you at a Shea event up in Dallas, and give you a big old hug, and I think this guy's awesome, man. I really want to learn more about him and what he does, right? I wanted to mention something. You had said that you guys, I say you guys, like you guys are like the new stars of LinkedIn, and you know who you are. There's like 10 of you, right? You're all young, good looking, women and men who are trying to find their way in the world, and they want to show everybody who they are. And I think it's awesome. But to your point about it being fairly new, I remember 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, that Shay did a Christmas special. All she wants for LinkedIn is LinkedIn Live. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah. I do remember.
So it hasn't been that long, right?
No, and that was like it worked perfect as like a promotional element too, because she did get approved for LinkedIn Live for that, and we aired her live stream like right after, so everybody was like, "Oh, you got it! Oh my god!" So promotionally, that worked out great too. But it is a new, at least to LinkedIn, there are some Twitch streamers in kind of like the esports world and like YouTuber world, even further ahead than us.
Yeah.
But what you see as far as trends and technology is usually a natural evolution. When a new technology emerges, in most cases, it's usually adopted by like black market, organized crime, like all of that is usually the first ones to jump on top of it and use it.
Right.
Then it starts transferring into more adult industries, kind of taboo stuff. And then esports is usually the first mainstream signal that I see. So really one of the simplest things I've been doing on a macro level is paying attention to what's working in entertainment and esports and bringing that to a business context. So those sensational intros, the reactive chat, having people be able to add emojis and control like what's happening on the stream, those little details are all just stuff I copied from streamers and gamers and like big esports event productions, but bringing it to a new audience or to a new context completely changes how that is received in a way. So it just feels fresh and new, and these people are like, oh my god, I can comment any emoji on LinkedIn and the emotes pop up on the stream, like, and their mind is just blown. They're like, whoa. And that's like barely even the surface level of like what we're getting to as far as interactive content and audience controlled stuff. So that's what I'm excited to see, is what else emerges and how we can pool that to the business world.
I love it.
Yeah, it's starting to merge a bit with some of the other platforms. I wouldn't say merge, but kind of becoming like the other platforms, like DLive and some of the DLive, Twitch. It's interesting to see the transition.
No, they all copy each other. It'll all be it'll be like two social media platforms, so there's no monopoly, and then they just will all have the same features. That's what I'm envisioning. we go to.
Well, it'll be good. It'll be good when LinkedIn catches up to that. So and it's doing well. So
still alive somehow.
Yep.
I would love to get your thoughts around the word brand. I am a pretty old fart, and I started as a graphic designer back in the early 90s. And for many years, the definition, for me and many others, and actually a lot of companies I've worked for in the past, and not too long ago in the past, a brand is the brand guidelines. It's the logo, it's the color, it's the visual representation of the company. And I think, Apple was probably the first one to really kind of jar the meaning of brand. But I, especially, we're in a very industrial industry and interact with a lot of industrial industries. I still think there's a lot of old thinking around what brand is. Love to hear your thoughts on what brand is and how that helps a company when you kind of deliver it and live in that brand.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the game changers as far as creators and businesses that succeed in this next digital era. Those that recognize the value of personal brand and your company brand in a digital context, that is what's going to move people forward for like a long game loyalty. That's what I end up envisioning, like where the value of brand is. To a certain degree, most things become commodities. They get to a competitive nature unless you really, really just have a super unique product. What you need to stand out or to compete or to raise prices is going to be higher brand equity or brand value in general. So the traditional version is like the moment I say Coca-Cola, in that 2 to 3 seconds you just filled, there were colors, there were a couple emotions, and it's different for every person. Your job as a brand marketer is to funnel whatever that quick micro little subconscious reaction is. And on the internal side, it is huge. It's a massive document with messaging, the exact words, the exact shades, the exact whatever. Right. But same thing as what we were talking about, those micro decisions leading to macro results. Branding is the same way. Every word you're using, every little shade of color, all of that's adding up. And your job is to plant what is that message when somebody hears that one signal. It's way easier said than done because I have so much difficulty zeroing in on what that is. I've got music stuff, I've got business stuff, I've got hockey stuff, I've got stormtrooper stuff that I can't escape. Like there's this kind of branding paradox you have to deal with. And the most valuable ones are the ones that can recognize what are all of those pieces that really make me, or this can be the company version. And how can you capture that, bottle that essence and capture it and bring it to the world? That's where a brand book and brand design and all of that kicks in. all of those decisions add up to a moment where they're thinking of me versus somebody else, and all of those little subconscious things are like, well, his lighting was good, the colors were there, the this was that, like all that stuff. Even if they don't admit it, it is being made note of in the competitive landscape. So to me, branding is the highest value opportunity to stand out when you reach competitive just saturation as far as services or capability. Branding is going to give you that final little notch above most other companies.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think I've really come to the agreement with a lot of people I've read and listened to, that it goes so far beyond recognizing that when I see Travis, I see those cool color lights, and that's Travis to me. It's more that I am connected to Travis because I connect to him, right? The umbrella of everything you're about, stormtroopers and music and content marketing and live streaming, that's all there. But it's my connection to you that to me is like that's the brand. And I think we as a team, Bill, I think we embrace that because we're in a market that's, I mean, you could buy a printer and labeler from anybody around it. What does it matter? So I think that our people are our brand, and like you said, what they say, how they deliver it, that's all part of it as well. So this is a cool transition though into it's an interesting little back and forth, and it's perfection versus production. Okay, so the Gary V perspective, right? Push out, create. Don't worry about quality. Don't worry. Just go, get it all out. And I think there's a lot of merit to it, but I don't know that it's 100 that way. What's your perspective on perfection versus production? Because content is what, Travis? It is king, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So I know a lot of people in manufacturing and in packaging in our kind of world, they don't have marketing departments, and they may not even have a budget to work with marketers outside. So they may feel overwhelmed by this thing about, well, I got to create everything perfectly, right? So I'm just not going to do all that. What's your take on perfect versus production?
Well, welcome to my internal crisis as a creator. So I have skewed on both ends of the spectrum to try and find that sweet spot, the Goldilocks zone. And what I've discovered is there is a sweet spot. There is a sweet spot. I think there is a decent rule of thumb here. And the problem I saw was if you go too far to the high end of the spectrum, if you need it perfect, you're talking to companies that are going to take like 6 weeks and like 6 figures to like even talk and like sit down for a brief. These are like the Hollywood like agencies, Chicago, New York, whatever. It's great. There's value in that for a very small amount of people. And then you go to the other end of the spectrum. It's hiring a Fiverr editor for cheap in somewhere you don't even know, and you just throw all your work at them, and then you get back some kind of regurgitated garbage with some captions on it, and you're like, oh, right, whatever. Right. Way too low on the spectrum. So what we got to find is where is the sweet spot? And what we've discovered is right at about the 80% mark is where the highest ROI is as far as production versus results. So if you are working on a project or any type of content and it's at the 80 to 90% mark, ship it, deliver it, green lights go, all full steam ahead, whatever analogy you want to use. If you're at that 80 to 90% mark, you're in a good zone to just let it go. Because the problem is, as you get past that 80 to 90% mark,
Yeah.
the amount of effort needed to get 1% better is going to start exponentially increasing. There's no such thing as a 100% perfect production. So as you get to that 90, 95, 99% perfect in your head, that's taking an extra 10, 20, 40 hours to just get a little bit better, when in reality, that same 40 hours could be used to make 4 more videos and get it to that 80% mark. So that's the sweet spot I look for in my head, is kind of this 80 to 90% mark. And that keeps you in a nice, safe zone of not getting so bottlenecked by the perfectionism, but also not devaluing your brand equity. I think the people that just ship anything and everything, there's a little bit of value to like the argument of like, well, you got to get your reps in to figure out what's good. Like if you're just starting, sure, just get it out, get it going. But that would be the recommendation. I find the highest ROI is hitting that 80% mark and just having the courage and the confidence to just finally say it's good. And it's taken me a long time to dial that back from like the 90, the 99 to like the 80.
Yeah.
But there's all that stuff that I was hypersensitive to, that I was like, oh my God, they missed a letter here, and then this is the wrong shade, like a little bit. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. Like there's a little bit of like, maybe people like you and me might know some of the branding stuff that's misaligned, but general population, useless to try and hit that perfection element.
I know Bill's perspective. Bill's like, get it out there, get known. I don't care. I don't care if it's a dancing dog. I don't care if you're kicking a soccer ball or if it's a manual on how to put together a conveyor. Get it out there, and get known. That's
the reason there's a reason for that, Mark, is because most people don't do anything.
Yeah.
So what I try to do is say push, because I already know that's probably not going to be enough unless they really deliver, right? If they really deliver, I'll go, oh, okay, well, you're putting out a lot of content. That's awesome. But when you talk about perfection in marketing in general, I looked at who's coming up so quickly on this platform, right? For companies. And the one I'm amazed by is Black Rifle Coffee Company. It is amazing. The trajectory is extraordinary. So I just have to give them a tip of the hat for how good they do. Their marketing department's incredible.
You want really an industry of impact. That's what you want. That's why you mentioned it.
No, at the end of the day, I mean, I've got their coffee here. I bought their coffee literally because of their marketing is so cool that I'm literally waiting for them to drop the next one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome.
All right. We're about to wrap it up. I just want some quick fire questions for you. Okay. Quick fire. Snowboard or skis?
That's a danger zone, Travis.
Snowboard.
Snowboard or skis? Snowboard. Okay. All-time favorite SNL character or cast member?
Oh my God. Oh, that's so hard. Chris Farley or Bill Hader. Sorry, I gotta my head went.
Yeah.
I can't pick one.
Down by the river, Travis. Down by the river.
Oh man.
With him in a van.
Sketch. Oh. I almost did that for Halloween. I really should pull that one off. And then last, the most controversial one we bring up every time, pineapple on pizza. Yay or nay? Hey.
Who cares? Who cares?
We got a serious rundown last week about why not, boy. We got a real talking.
Yeah, if I've reached a point in life where mental bandwidth and capacity has become so much more valuable that suddenly these type of things have just deteriorated into oblivion.
No doubt.
Hey, Travis, you go back and watch our last live. You'll be very interested what she says about pineapple pizza.
Pineapple pizza. she gave a stern talking to about that. No doubt about that.
Yes, she did.
Travis, we cannot thank you enough for your time. I know you're busy. I know you're working and creating. So thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you guys as well. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yep. And hope to have you back someday. And we'll I got questions for you about creativity. I would love to explore another time. But yeah, super grateful you joined us, and have an amazing day. Have an amazing weekend, and hope everyone got some value for sure.
Amazing.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Travis.
Thanks again, Travis.